Hey, welcome back, everyone. It's me, Mr. 4K. So after an amazing weekend for Xbox, because we had that Xbox showcase right on Sunday, and it's been well received, great reception, right? So everyone was very pumped and ready for Xbox. Remember, I made a video where I said, I don't know, guys, don't get so super excited right away, okay? Because I know how these things works. Um, so this is the news that's been floating around, not just on the Geek Wire, but on The Verge and Bloomberg and many other places across the internet. Even Tom Warren has actually confirmed on this and shared this. And this is regarding the possible reset button and the layoffs that will continue throughout this year. So let's read this. This is from the Geek Wire, but there's so many different websites that have the same, article on this regarding these layoffs and the reset button that the Asha Sharma has in plan. It says this cannot continue. Microsoft Xbox CEO calls for reset amid reports of looming job cuts. Xbox CEO Asha Sharma, roughly 100 days into her tenure, delivered a blunt assessment of Microsoft gaming business in a memo to employees. So she sent a memo. And when you get a memo from a CEO and you work for that company, that's a real deal, right? So this was, the memo was sent on Wednesday, saying that heavy spending with thin profit margins and declining revenue cannot continue. This memo, posted publicly on the Xbox blog, came as a Bloomberg News reported that division is planning major job cuts next month. Soon after the close of Microsoft fiscal year on June 30th, Xbox is also planning significant cuts to marketing and other budgets, according to the report. The exact scale of the layoffs is not yet clear. Microsoft declined to comment. The Verge also reported that Xbox will be hit with significant layoffs next month. Citing people familiar with the plans, Sharma's memo did not mention layoffs but described a business that needs a sweeping reset. She and the Xbox content chief Matt Booty, who co-signed the memo, cited rising hardware components costs and over extended studio system and aging platform structure among the challenges facing the division. Xbox will end the fiscal year about 3% accountability margin, an internal metric Microsoft uses to measure the profitability of the business, according to the memo. Excluding Activision Blizzard King, over the past 5 years, we have spent over $20 billion on ongoing investments in our content platform. That's a lot of money. And hardware subsidy, but our annual revenue has declined nearly $500 million during that time. Sharma and Booty wrote, going forward, this cannot continue. All right, so how do I read this? How do I see this? This is just business, guys. This is like, I know what you're thinking. Is this a doom and gloom? Look, this is not the first time that this company had to go through this. Sony has done the same thing. PlayStation has done the same thing. Nintendo has done the same thing. Every company does this when they're like not meeting their quotas. They do layoffs. I mean, this is like nothing unusual. It doesn't mean that the company's going. It doesn't mean that this is the end of the Xbox or don't invest in Xbox. It just means that what the previous CEO did, which is Phil Spencer. Look, we got to put the blame where the blame needs to be put. Okay, he was the CEO. All right, it was Phil Spencer. I don't care if you like him and if you praise him so much. The facts are the facts. Someone needs to acknowledge the elephant in the room. And I'm really like surprised that no one wants to acknowledge like why everyone's like holding this guy to a higher standard. I don't hold Phil Spencer to any standards. The guy screwed up majorly. I mean, last year. And this is his mess. And now she has to clean up his mess. Why do you think he was fired? Why do you think both him and Sarah Bond were fired? So I don't hold neither one of them to any kind of standards because they screwed up and they should have known better. Phil Spencer should have known better. You don't experiment like this so carelessly, buying all these studios and canceling them. That's what he was doing. He was experimenting and they were losing money. You have to be very strategical. You have to be smart. So let's just call it for what it is. Let's just put the blame where the blame needs to be put. This is all Phil Spencer's blame. But right now it's irrelevant, okay? It's totally irrelevant to be talking about that. What really happened, all the details, honestly, it's irrelevant. We all know where the blame needs to be put. The blame goes to Phil Spencer. And nobody wants to say this. I don't know why. Nobody wants to acknowledge it, that it was his fault. You know, he should have known better. Made so many promises, so many broken promises and lies and experimenting and this and that. Come on, man. We have receipts on this guy and his screw up. It's all there, dude. You know, you can't hide from the facts. You know, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you like him, but dude, we can't ignore his actions. And his actions have created this mess that the Xbox is in right now. It's because Phil Spencer and all the crap he has done in the past. There's some good things he's done, but people will always remember Phil Spencer by, what's the name? Don Matrick. Like Don Matrick from Xbox One. Is anyone going to remember him as the savior of the Xbox? No. He was a destroyer of the Xbox, right? So, it is what it is, you know. Yes, he has done some good things in the beginning. He saved the Xbox in 2013 from Don Matrick disaster. But people will always remember what you did last. You see, that's the thing, okay? That nobody wants to acknowledge. Nobody wants to be honest these days. Nobody wants to be straight up and just like say it like it is. I'm just calling it for what it is. Facts. I don't care about your feelings. The facts are the facts. You can't erase the facts. You can't ignore the facts. They'll be here forever and ever. Okay, even after gigatrillion years from now, when some other civilization comes here, they're going to find the facts. That's why we have history, and that's why we have facts. They cannot be ignored. So I don't care if you like the guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure Phil Spencer's a great dude. But he screwed up, dude. I mean, as a person, he's a great guy. But he just screwed up managing this company. Alright? That's all. Just because he's a nice person, he's a very friendly person, that doesn't mean anything. You could be the nicest guy, or the nicest personality, but if you don't know how to manage a business, dude, that's it. So that's why I'm saying the blame goes to him. He screwed this up, dude. Because he was all over the place, dude. He wants to be a publisher, no red lines, this and that. This is an Xbox. Okay, well, so then what is the Xbox Series X? Losing the identity. All of these mixed messagings, all of this talk of all he was all over the place, dude. No wonder this company went Titanic, man. And no wonder he got fired and his team got fired, except Matt Booty. It's because the guy was all over the place. Dude, what are we all about? And I guarantee you it didn't even come from Satya. I probably guarantee you it came from the top. I guarantee you Bill Gates probably phoned in Satya and said to Satya, hey man, what is this guy doing? I invested into this brand for 25 years, and this guy's turning it into, some sort of an experiment. Fire his ass, and that's that. Now, they were trying to keep it quiet because they don't want, to, what's the word? Jesus. To embarrass him, to to humiliate him. Like they didn't really want to humiliate the guy. So they're just like, let's keep this quiet. Let's make this smooth transition, and let's not talk about Phil. Let's just make this smooth, quiet. But we all know what happened behind the closed doors. All right, 2+2, it's 4. 2+2 is not 22. And I've been talking about this, and everyone has been noticing this, that Phil Spencer really has screwed up. Now, he's a nice guy. He's a great guy, but he doesn't know how to manage this company, and that's why he failed, and that's why we're in this mess, and that's why what's his name, Satya hired Asha Sharma to clean up this mess. So I'm not really worried much about this. I think we're in good hands. Asha Sharma, she knows what she's doing. Guys, we're in good hands, and she's got to do what she's got to do, man. Nothing personal. This is just business, dude. If you work in the corporate, you understand, man. It's about ones and zeros, man. Like, they don't care about if you're a nice guy or, if you have a good, the good personality and being a nice guy is not going to make them any money. You have to, I know how it sounds, but that's the corporate for you, dude. Welcome to the corporate, all right? You being a nice guy, you being a good personality, it ain't going to make the company money. Remember, they're in business of making money, dude. When you look at any corporate, I don't care if it's PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, they're all a corporate that it's in business of making money. And you guys have to understand that. That's what this is about. It's about, making money. So I don't want to read too much into this, because I don't see this as like anything alarming as some of you guys are making it out to be. So yes, some studios will be closed, but I don't think they're going to close like major studios like a Playground game. Okay, Playground games. Yo, like Turn 10 and Playground games, they need Forza Horizon. It's very profitable. They need Forza Motorsport. It's very profitable. They need Fable. It's very profitable. They need Bethesda. It's very profitable. So these big studios are not going to be canceled. What most likely you're going to see some small studios that they're not really making much money. They already cut ties with the Activision. Although there's still some partnership with Activision, but what I mean cut ties, they have kind of distanced themselves from Activision, and this whole Call of Duty joined the Xbox because of Call of Duty. Now, having said that, Xbox is still the best place if you want to play Call of Duty, because they have all of the Call of Duties, right? It's just you won't be able to play Call of Duty day one. You'll have to wait a year after, but it'll be included in the library of the Call of Duties. So if you want to buy an Xbox Series X for Call of Duty, you're good to go. So I'm not really like alarmed for this. I'm not like reading too much into this like some of you guys. Gloom and doom. This is not a gloom and doom. This is just a necessary evil. She has to do this. As a manager, as a CEO, you have to make some unpopular decisions. She doesn't like doing this, but she has to. Like, she didn't inherit. She inherited this mess, dude. This is not her fault. She's like, hey man, I have to clean up this mess, man. I came here. It's like when you buy a house. Let's say you buy a house and you move into a house, and they didn't clean up anything. They left a big mess, and now you have to clean up the mess that they left. Or if somebody sells you a car and the car's all dirty and shit, well, you have to clean up the mess inside the car. So that's my analogy. That's essentially what she's doing. She's cleaning up the mess that she's inherited from a previous CEO, Phil Spencer. Okay? And we're in good hands, so I'm not really worried about this. I'm not worried about this at all. We're in good hands, man. Xbox looking good. You should be happy that we have Asha Sharma. She's cleaning up the mess. She knows what she wants. She wants to make Xbox. Here's the word that you guys forgot to use. She wants to make Xbox relevant. Okay? She wants to make Xbox relevant. So when you look at this Xbox sign, you know that's a competition. When Sony looks at this Xbox logo, they know that's a competition. So that's good. That's good. We need competition. Definitely Sony needs competition because Sony PlayStation has been lazy. What have they produced lately? Just Saros, and Saros was a mediocre game. So PlayStation certainly needs a competition. So this is good. And like I said, we have some good games coming out for Xbox. Gears of War E-Day looks pretty amazing. Dude, I'm not worried about this. I think you guys are reading too much into this gloom and doom. I don't see this as a gloom and doom. I see this as a positive thing, but a necessary evil. She has to do this because she inherited a mess that she has to clean up. But once she cleans up this mess, the reset button is here. We're good to go. Off to the races. Now we just have to produce great content and move into 2027 with Project Helix, right? So I don't think this will affect the Xbox future. This will only make it bigger and better and stronger. They'll make more money and they'll have more money to invest. They might be even able to cut the prices on the Xbox Series X's. Okay, and they might be able to, maybe acquire another studio to create maybe another exclusive. So I'm not really worried about this. Okay, so but let's call it for what it is. She inherited the mess from Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond. But I can't really blame Sarah Bond because Phil Spencer was the head of the Xbox Gaming and he was the Xbox CEO in the past 12 years. This is all his mess. Okay, so who was in charge in the past 12 years? Listen, no one wants to acknowledge the elephant in the room because everybody likes Phil. I like Phil as well. But dude, people will only remember you by what you did last, and what you did last was not good. And it's sad because, the guy had a great start, and it's really sad to see Phil Spencer after 12 years have this kind of an exit. I feel sorry for him, I really do. Okay, I'm not trying to be mean to a guy, I'm not trying to be rude to a guy. I give him credit for saving the company back in 2013, from Don Metric's disaster. Colossal old disaster called the Xbox One. It was a total disaster. So he saved the Xbox One from Don Metric's colossal disaster. And then he made the revisions to Xbox. He gave us Xbox One S, which was amazing for $300, man. Just a 4K Blu-ray player was like $400 at the time. And he gave us a built-in 4K player with, for the very first time, upscaling to 4K and HDR, on a console, dude, for your brand new 4K TV. That was a reason to buy a 4K TV, plus the built-in 4K player, all for $300 back in 2016. That's how I started my channel, man. If you look at my videos, well, it all started here, right behind me. Remember, right here. If you look at this, it all started there. I'll give you a little memory lane history 12 years ago. So look, but people will not remember with all the good things you've done. See, that's the sad part. People will not remember all the good things you've done. People will only remember what you did last. And that's the sad part about all of this regarding Phil Spencer. They will not remember all the great things you've done. They will just remember what you did last. And what you did last, it really sucks because I really was hoping that Phil Spencer would have a more better farewell exit, but instead it was the firing exit, and it really sucks. I feel sorry for him. I really do. But hey, again, he should have known better, man. He's a smart guy, and he took these unnecessary risks. This is what happens, man. When you can't gamble when it comes to business, dude. You can't gamble. You have to have a good strategy. When it comes to corporate, they want guarantees, bro. Like they want guarantees. They don't want maybe. No. They have investors. They have stock holders, shares and all that. They have a lot of investors, man. They want the sure thing, man. They don't want maybe not. Like, no. They need to know. Okay, 100%. This is a good strategy. We're gonna profit a lot of money, etc., etc. And I think this is the consequences of that. And now, Asha Sharma has to clean up that mess. But the good news is we're in the good hands. So I don't read this as a gloom and doom kind of scenario here. I read this as a unnecessary thing that needs to be done. I also like to call it necessary evil that needs to be done. But Xbox it's in good hands. We're in good hands. Asha Sharma is leading the way, so we're in good hands, dude. I'm not even sweating it, bro. I'm not even worried. We're in good hands. Trust me, Asha Sharma. I'm convinced she knows what she's doing. So I wouldn't worry about it, man. We're in good hands, okay? All right, so that's what I think. That's my opinion, okay? And thank you for watching.